Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ashram. With our grateful pranams at the holy lotus feet of Bhagwan, we shall have again some glimpses. We shall go through one or two stories of the glory of His name, the glory of His presence. Yesterday, a lady doctor had come here, Dr. Valarmathy. She gave me a very interesting story. She said that right from her childhood, her mother, Srimati Mallika, had told the many stories of gods, and they were used to going to the temple also for pujas and darshan. So she had grown in faith, but she never gave thought to a human being or any Mahatma being worshipped, being adored and worshipped. She was under the impression, even if he went to these great Mahatma, what would they say? They would only say, worship the God, chant His name, worship the God. So why should we go to them? We could go straight away to our chosen deity. This was a logic, an argument. So she never was interested in going for darshan of any great stone, any great master. But then her mother had already come to Bhagwan, had seen him and taken blessings. And there were many times she would be talking about him. At the time, Dr. Valarmathy had gone to a village called Muhayur between Tirukkovilur and Vizhupuram and was working as the government doctor there, in the sanitary department. She was working there for quite a few years, and that is when Mallika Amma, who talked about Yogiji, who was fascinated by his personality, said we would all go for darshan of Yogiji. So those people, though Dr. Valarmathy did not have all that faith, all the same she thought, okay, he's a good man, God man, so let's go see. So when she went there, what she saw was shocking to her. The man was not only wearing dirty clothes, dirty rags, he had not taken bath for several years, and what was more, on top of it all, he was smoking. She was not impressed at all, Yet she joined other people, had darshan, and then right from the time they came out, they took a bus to Tirukovilur to have darshan of Lord Ulagalanda Perumal. Mahavishnu temple is there in a certain avatar. So they wanted to visit the temple, have darshan of the Perumal there, the Mahavishnu there. All through the bus journey, they were talking about Yogi Ramsuratkumar. How they were analyzing every gesture of his, every look of his, everything that he did and said. It was a clinical analysis of Yogi Ji's personality and his demeanor. So after Tirukovilur came, they got down and they were just moving on. Suddenly somebody came and running and with gasping, with panting for breath, they said, "Look, there was a book in your seat. You had left it there and gone. So as soon as we saw it, we thought we would bring it to you. Here is it." Book? What book is there? We have not left any book there. They kept on trying to explain to the man who was carrying it. We insisted that it was theirs very stubbornly. However much they tried to explain that it was not there, they had not brought any book. He just dropped it into their hands and ran away. When they opened, they found that it was a bound book of Ramakrishna Vijayam, the magazine of Sri Ramakrishna Math. Several of them had been bound together. They were puzzled because they had not taken any book at all, and they had not seen anyone having any book also, because people were seated in the front and at the back, where either farmers in the village or the Christian nuns were doing some service in the nearby villages. So they could not possibly think of anyone who could have possibly brought the book. And they knew they had not taken anything with them. It was mysterious. And then Dr. Valarmathy opened the book. When she opened it on any page, in random, she found 2 sentences. Immediately, her attention was drawn to 2 sentences which said, "The God's ways are not to be analyzed. ஆண்டவன் செயல்களை ஆராய்ந்து பார்க்காதே." This was the sentence there. All the time they had been doing only that, dissecting, a clinical analysis of what they saw. The attire of Yogi Ramsuratkumar, the way he spoke, the way he looked, the way he walked, the way he smoked. They just could not associate smoking with a saint. So all the time they were only blabbering this and that of Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And here, when they were just walking towards the temple, somebody came running and pushed a book into their hands and ran away. And as soon as she opened the book, the first thing that she saw was this: do not analyze the actions of God. Bhagwan often said, God's ways are mysterious. You could get to know the how of it, but you could never ask why. He would often say, you people ask this beggar, why? Why did you do it? But this beggar cannot question his father. God's ways are mysterious. We cannot question Father's wisdom, Father's actions. So you see, it came like a slap when she saw those two lines, and immediately they kept quiet. They stopped their analysis, and suddenly it kind of went deep into Dr. Valarmathy's heart, and then she knew instantly it was Yogi Ramsuratkumar Leela. It was his way of saying, shut up. Don't sit in judgment on people when you do not know anything. So you see how everything was orchestrated, arranged by the Divine to teach a specific lesson. So Dr. Valarmathy said this was her first encounter with Bhagwan, with Bhagwan's physical body and his subtle, all-pervasive, all-intelligent actions, instructive actions. Her sister, Dr. Deepashanthi, she also had a miracle to narrate. She said, it's absolutely a miracle that I went through. And this could be anybody's experience if they choose to chant the name. So she says, 6 or 7 years back, she had a problem in the uterus. The inner layer of the uterus would become thick, and after that, at a certain point, it would start breaking down, and that is how the blood comes out in the cycle. But what happened to her, it was bleeding for her almost 20 days a month, every month. She is a doctor herself. She knows the inside working of these organs, yet she could not put her finger onto this. What is happening? Why the suffering? 20 days a month. It was a torture to her, severe pain, and however much she tried to go see a doctor, it just wouldn't happen. For some reason or the other, it kept slipping. And finally, she reached a state where she could no more bear it. It became inevitable. So she had to go and consult a doctor. The doctor said, it has been so long because after this pain and the bleeding started, 10 months have gone. With those 10 months, she was just putting up with the pain and working, not doing anything about it. Imagine the torture of pain that she went through. Now the doctor says, we have to take a scan, and then, if possible, DNC must be done. If that would not work out, then they had to go in for the removal of the uterus itself. She was very scared, very afraid. Something was far wrong, and she did not like one bit about the operation part of it. She didn't know what to do. When she was going through this mental suffering also, along with the physical suffering, it was Jayanti time for Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, celebration time at the ashram. For the Jayanti function, her mother Mallika had come to the ashram, participated, and then took some sugar candies as prasad for distribution. She went to her daughter also, Dr. Deepashanthi, gave her some sugar candies as prasad from Bhagwan. Now, you see, she was at the peak of the pain, unable to bear it, and even more allergic to the thought of operation. She did not know what to do. She put all those sugar candies in front of Bhagwan's picture, began to chant his name desperately, and prayed for some time. And then she took that sugar candy, she put it into her mouth. She prayed to Bhagwan, Bhagwan, I have no one else to turn to. You are my only help. I do not know what is happening in my body. Because in the scan they found out the inner layer which would thicken for every lady, every female, but after some time they would break up and come down as blood. The thickness would not keep up for long. But in her case, in the scan, they found out the thickness was more than it should be. And what was more, it was not keeping its level. The casual, the usual healthy level, it was more than that. It was not breaking up and coming out as blood. So she said, why? Why would this happen to me? I don't understand what is happening in me, Bhagwan. I have no one else to turn to. Please do something. And praying and chanting his name, she took the sugar candy. When she ate it, she felt a change in her body. She says, I truly felt a physical change happening in my body. The doctors had given, after the scan, the doctors had prescribed some medicine and they asked her to come after a few days so that she had to go through DNC. So on the day, she had to go to the hospital for DNC. She felt suddenly it was more intuition. She felt that the problem has gone. The problem had gone and she felt very different. She felt light and healthy. She didn't know what had happened, but she remembered when she ate the sugar candy from the ashram. She felt something changing in her body, a definite change in the body. That was all. Now when she was going towards a hospital for DNC operation because the uterus had to be washed out, so she was going for that with all her reports. She felt that she had already been cured and there was nothing at all left of the old problem. But then how could she say it? So before they prepared her for DNC, she tried to tell the doctor, Doctor, I feel quite all right now. I don't have that problem anymore. But the doctors would not believe it. He said, how would you know? There is no scientific way to know except if we take the scan again. She said, yes, doctor, we shall take the scan. And then we shall decide for this DNC. She's as a doctor herself. Then the doctors agreed for a scan, and the wonder of wonders, the surprise of surprises, when they saw the scan, they found that the thickness was the healthy, usual thickness. It was not more than that. The lining had the usual thickness and not more than that, which was causing her the problem. And she says the doctors were surprised. She herself was surprised that she was free of the problem just by taking a sugar candy that came from the ashram. All she did was chant his name desperately and pray. She says after that, till today, that is 7 years have passed, and she never had that problem. She has the inner lining of the uterus kept up its healthy thickness, and there was no problem at all. It is the marvel of Bhagwan's prasad combined with faith in him and nama and prayer. Otherwise, just imagine what she had to go through. So the two sisters, both of them, had something very interesting to tell us, inspiring. In one place, Bhagwan, in a subtle way, let Valarmathy know that she should not be. This morning we saw that we should not analyze or judge anybody with our little knowledge, more so the great masters, and how Bhagwan taught her not to do that in a very subtle way, in a very strange arrangement of events. And again, Deepashanti's story is inspiring to the ladies, the lady devotees who have similar problems. They can also try out with faith, love, and desperate prayer the prasad. Now this Bhagwan is here in front of us. We shall submit today's prayers. Bhagwan, if you could change the situation, a problem inside the body, by a sugar candy, now you can very well, with just one compassionate glance, bring the whole world to a healthy normalcy.